So you might have asked yourself, what is a WBS or work breakdown, and what does that have to do with me being a change manager or project manager? So once we've initiated our project, it is going into the planning phase. And as a change or project manager, we are now looking at all the things that need to be done as part of this project for the project to create the product or output or objective by the end date that it's set out to do. Now, we have created our scope document, which says exactly what is going to be part of the project and what not. But it is very difficult to turn the scope document into a schedule or some sort of, timeline as to how our project is going to unfold if we don't use a WBS or work breakdown in between. And a work breakdown is our crutch to break down the key product or the project into all the different work streams that have to happen and into all the different work packages or tasks and activities that are done by different people in the project team, by our stakeholders, maybe even by our vendors, in order to make the project a reality. And you can have a work breakdown in various different forms. Like some people like to do a work breakdown just as a table. Other people may want to use a hierarchical structure that looks similar to a org chart. And other people may use something in Excel or in MS Project as well, which looks like a table and then defaults into their Gantt chart on the right hand side. So it is that precursor to your schedule that you are creating when you do your work breakdown. So your work breakdown generally seems to have between 1 to 3 levels. So on your top level, if you do a hierarchical view, or if you have a program like Excel or MS Project that allows you to drill down into different drop downs. So on your top level, you're going to have your project, and then underneath in your level 1, you have all the different work streams. So that could be a timeline or a kind of high level milestone from left to right that works sequentially, but can also work parallel in order to make the project a reality. So you could have things like your project management there, or your change management, and then also if it's a manufacturing or fabrication kind of project, you would have maybe that as a higher level there. Then on the next level down, we now have more concrete work packages that sum up activities and tasks into distinct deliverables of your project. So that could be something like your change management plan or strategy, or it could be something like end user training or something like that. And then below that, we have the smaller activities. Now, my rule of thumb is, because I normally work in corporate environments, so I'm not so tied to minuscule scheduling like some of my colleagues' projects that go offshore and need to look at tides. So my rule of thumb is that no task, so no low-level activity is smaller than 8 hours, so a day. But if you have to schedule across tides, or you have to schedule diving hours, you want to go more minuscule, because you kind of want to make sure you can squeeze it into the windows that you have available there. So depending on the technicality of your project, you have a different rule of thumb. So in my case, workplaces, like corporate workplaces, I say no task smaller than 8 hours, so a day, and then no task or work package bigger than 80 hours as well, because that's just making it too difficult for me to track progress across it. Then the other thing that is a rule of thumb for your work breakdown is your work breakdown structure needs to be 100% complete. You cannot omit certain areas that are necessary for your project to be delivered from your work breakdown structure. So you cannot just look at your work breakdown and say, I just cover all my change management activities in this, but I don't know about fabrication or whatever. I'll just leave that out. No, it has to be captured within that. And you can just stay at a higher level if you don't know exactly all the little things, and that's outsourced. And then you have to manage your stakeholders within that area to give you good progress updates, so that you know very early on if you get off track. So once you've done your work breakdown structure, if you've done it in a software, that's great. You can then assign things like timing, dependencies, start dates and end dates for activities, and that is your first step then to translate the work breakdown into your schedule. I hope you found this video beneficial, and please like, subscribe and share it, and I'll see you in the next one looking a little bit more at schedules.